Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. The Florida Gators. And Florida's unique, totally different than Penn State. You know, at Penn State, at least James Franklin could say, hey, I won a lot of games prior to this year. But Billy Napier's been a train wreck. We've talked about him all fall. The stat that we talked about on Thursday's show that I could not believe, first Florida coach in 75 years to have never finished a season ranked in the top 25 at Florida. This is now what, year 4? Yeah, it's bad. And it's funny because, you know, what's interesting about it is I think most diehard college football fans, but certainly Florida fans, we talked about this again on Thursday, is the notion that, well, you beat Texas. Is there some magic run coming? And did they figure things out over the bye week? And I'm like, I don't think it really matters. I don't think Texas is that good. And the one thing about Billy Napier, most of his best wins have been at Florida in the Swamp at home. And it was funny. I picked Texas A&M to win this game. I picked Texas A&M to cover this game against Florida on Saturday because I just said, look, it's great that you beat Texas at the Swamp, but if you go back the last 2 years, Billy Napier has 3 road wins at Florida the last 2 seasons prior to this year. They beat 2-10 Florida State last year, disaster. They beat 2-10 Mississippi State team, worst team in the SEC. And 2 seasons ago, the 2023 season, they beat South Carolina on the road in a game where they were down by 10 in the fourth quarter and rallied to win. So I wasn't expecting much on Saturday night in College Station. And credit Billy Napier. He came up with a very Billy Napier performance. This was a pick that I did win. This is a bet that I did win. Texas A&M wins 34-17. That is the final score. All of the goodwill from the win over Texas the other day is gone. And I just think it's really bad for Billy Napier, and I think it's going to get worse. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But what really stood out to me about this game, first of all, typical Billy Napier offense. You know, after everything goes right 2 weeks ago against Texas, not very good. You finish the game, you know, you move the ball to a degree, 319 yards, but you again cannot run the ball, 74 yards rushing on 24 carries, 1 for 10 on third down. You know, the thing that I keep going back to, DJ Lagway proved last year he can hit the deep ball with perfection. You don't throw the ball deep. It is a train wreck. And listen, when the obituary is written on Billy Napier's time at Florida, it's going to come down to the fact that he did not hire an offensive coordinator after last year. He had the chance to get it right. You go on that run, you survive another year, and rather than losing a job that you've worked your whole life for, hand over the reins of the offense. Listen, being a college football coach is tough enough right now. You don't need to be calling plays when you're not. Like, it's one thing if you're Lincoln Riley and you're good at it. It's one thing if you're Brent Venables taking over the defense and you're good at it outside of Saturday. Billy Napier's not a good play caller. We all know that. And so it was a disaster. It was bad Saturday. But here's what stood out Saturday. For the first time, I think there's real friction in that locker room. Now, I think it felt weird ever since the South Florida game. I remember saying after the South Florida game, I said, just feels like all the air has come out of the program. There was so much positive energy coming into the year. Now it's a disaster again. But for the first time that I've seen, a player was really outspoken about the state of things, and that was DJ Lagway. So DJ Lagway, again, this is a kid no different than Nico, no different than Arch Manning. I think Drew Aller might be the best example right now of you put your career in the hands of somebody and they let you down. Be clear, since I know we'll have Tennessee fans watch this at some point. I'm not saying Josh Heupel let Nico down, but maybe Drew Aller is the right analogy. Drew Aller put his career in the hands of James Franklin, and James Franklin let him down. And DJ Lagway is much the same. And DJ Lagway, it's interesting. If you watch that SEC documentary leading into the season, if you remember that, DJ Lagway was very quiet, very soft-spoken. He's not a super vocal, super verbal guy, kind of quiet, you know, leads with his actions, leads with his behavior, great in the community, great in the locker room, you know, gave a bunch of NIL money to the women's sports. Seems like a good kid. Doesn't really speak out. But what was different about Saturday was this. He's from the state of Texas. This was his first college game in the state of Texas. It was interesting. If you remember, he was committed during the year where it really fell apart for Billy Napier. I think that year they started like 5-2 and lost 5 straight games to end the year, something crazy like that. But I bring it up because he's from the state of Texas. When it fell apart, it was the same offseason that Elko got the A&M job. And that offseason, there was talk of like, could this 5-star kid DJ Lagway flip and go to A&M? He sticks with Florida. He goes through the ups and downs. He certainly was good last year. Things have regressed this year. I blame a lot of it on Billy Napier. But I only bring it up because this was his first game in Texas. And after the game, DJ Lagway was actually pretty outspoken. I don't know that this is the most bombastic quote, like if Aaron Rodgers said this or somebody like that said it. But for DJ Lagway, who I haven't ever heard him say anything negative about the state of things, long, lengthy press conference, this is what caught my attention. Matt, you can pop it up. He said, I told my guys on the offensive side, I'm not comfortable with this losing stuff. I don't rock with this losing. I don't like that. We can't get comfortable with this. It's not acceptable. And I feel like there's a lot of guys responding to that, and it's not acceptable. And I'm tired of it. And I can't go on like this. We got to fix it. And it starts with me. I got to demand the tempo. I got to demand excellence out of everybody and forget feelings. It's all business at the end of the day. We got to get back to work, got to have hard conversations, and we've got to fix some things. That's per Grant Hall, 24/7 Sports, Swamp 24/7, which is obviously the Florida affiliate. Matt, keep it up for half a second because I want to go back to it. This is about as outspoken as I've heard DJ Lagway at any point in his college career, and very clearly he is frustrated with the state of things. I'm not comfortable with this losing stuff. I don't rock with losing. And I feel like there's a lot of guys responding to that. It's not acceptable, and I'm tired of it, and I can't go on like this. We've got to fix it, and it starts with me. I've got to demand tempo. I've got to demand excellence out of everybody. Couple things stand out to that, and Matt, leave it up for just half a second. Thank you. One, first of all, I love that he takes accountability. It starts with me. That's what a leader does. That's what a great quarterback does. And DJ Lagway, like Drew Aller, like Arch Manning, like a couple other guys, he's taken a lot of heat this year, and I think some of it is justifiable. I think part of it, though, is the coaching. What Billy Napier has done to this kid is unacceptable, and he's clearly frustrated. We've got to fix it, and it starts with me, he said. I thought this part was interesting. I've got to demand the tempo. I've got to demand excellence out of everybody. I love him taking a leadership role. I also do wonder when he says, I got to demand the tempo. Is that a shot at Billy Napier? I don't know, but it certainly doesn't sound like he's happy with the state of things. And it's not just other guys not stepping up, and it's not just he's got to be better. I think he is very clearly frustrated with this offense, and how could he not be with the way that Billy Napier is coaching it? And so credit to DJ Lagway for speaking up. Matt, you could take it down. Thank you so much. Clearly, he's frustrated with the state of things with Billy Napier. Clearly, he's frustrated with the offense. And to take it a step further, I'm sorry, dude. His career is in the balance. He has every right to be frustrated. If this goes sideways, it's great you're making NIL money in college, but this was a guy that was even a year ago trending to probably be the number 1 overall pick in the 2027 NFL draft after 3 years of college football. And it's going sideways, and you're 2-4 midway through your sophomore year. And so, one, I love the leadership that he's shown, but two, there's a black cloud over this program, and it's called Billy Napier. And so what'll be interesting to me, Florida is 2-4. As of, again, it's about 12:29 Eastern time. That's in the PM, 12:29 in the afternoon. I don't think that a move on Billy Napier will be made this week. They play Mississippi State at home next week, and then they have a bye before the Georgia game. I've always thought the second bye is where the move gets made on Billy Napier. But one, it's just so over. Two, you did nobody any favors by allowing this guy to continue to coach. And three, I think for the first time, because that's been the big conversation on the national scale. Is like, well, the players are still bought into Billy Napier. Well, blah, 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 blah. They still believe in him, and da-da-da-da, and this and that. And it's like, it doesn't sound like they believe in him anymore. They have the right to be frustrated. DJ Lagway's career is on the line, and I think he has every right to be frustrated. I give him credit. I think that he needs to stand up, and I think that Florida has to make this move, because the one thing I will say, one, you got to get started on the coaching search. Maybe it's Lane Kiffin, maybe it's somebody else, whatever. But two, you have to give the fan base reason for hope, and you have to give the like you fire Billy Napier the last week of the season. All of a sudden, the portal's about to open in a week or two. It's like, I don't know. I could go on and on. It's not important. What's important is this thing is over, and I get you didn't want to fire him going into the first bye. You didn't want to fire him going into the first bye because it was 4 games in. The redshirt rule applies. Maybe guys opt out of the season. But conversely, it's gone on long enough. You had the great moment against Texas, but even the Texas game, let's be honest, first 3 or 4 drives they dominated. After that, one touchdown in the second half. They weren't great in the second half. And it's bad. One, you better beat Mississippi State. I think if he doesn't beat Mississippi State, I have to assume he's for sure gone. But even if he beats Mississippi State, 3-4 going into the bye, you still have Georgia on the schedule. You still have at Ole Miss, Tennessee as well. I think you're looking at right now, I think you're looking at 6-6. And so if you're looking at 6-6 on October 12th, what's the difference between October 12th and November 12th? I'm curious if it gets done.